Imagine you're going food shopping in Berlin. You're peaceful. You've rolled up to Edeka because you're a bougie bitch and you're browsing through the aisles. You're admiring the German bratwurst. You're admiring the 500 plus vegan options. Finally, you settle on a few items and you take them up to the till. And the second you put your food on the conveyor belt, you see your whole life flash before your eyes. Before you've even put your shopping trolley back, the cashier has whipped all your items through the scanner. The items are flung into that corner quicker than she can ask you, Karte oder Bargeld. You're fumbling around, you're trying to find your card, there are angry Germans there trying to hurry you along. You're like, do I pack my items? Do I just pay? She's rushing me on, you finally pay. And the second you tap that machine, the cashier starts throwing the next customer's items onto yours. Welcome to the German supermarket experience. One of my favorite and most stressful culture shocks of my study abroad experience in Berlin. Hey there guys, and welcome back to Unjaded Jade. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jade, I'm 21, I'm from the UK, and I studied for just under a year in Berlin. I adore Berlin. It is one of my favourite cities in the world. I potentially even see myself living there. I have to say, it's not fully representative of Germany, it's very international, but today I'm going to talk to you about some of the German culture shocks that I experienced as a British person moving to Berlin. For context, I made some really close German friends, I went to their houses, met their families, I went to Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, Heidelberg, Hamburg, a few places in Germany. So yeah, I hope this helps you if you're considering moving to Germany. The first one is Sundays. Who would have thought that Sunday could be a culture shock? In Germany, all the supermarkets are closed on a Sunday. Can you imagine? I have been raised in a household where Sunday is our day to set up the next week. This is the day me and my mum, we pop to the supermarket, we get some groceries, we're ready and set for the next week. So that's the routine I'm coming into Germany with. And because I'm so used to this pattern, you know, throughout the week, I'm eating my food, I'm making my meals, I deplete all my resources, I get to Sunday, and without fail, I just forget that the supermarkets are closed. There's no Edeka, there's no Aldi, there's no Lidl, there's no Rewe. And you can only find emergency supermarkets open in train stations, which is just a faff to get to. If you're going to Germany, do your supermarket shopping in the week or on a Saturday. Another huge culture shock as a hustle culture Brit is that on Sundays, no one works or does anything productive. And all my German friends, they just treat this like the Holy Grail. I think it is founded in Christianity, the idea of Sunday being a day of rest, but Germans just take it so seriously. Like, the city comes alive with people just enjoying their lives. They grab a beer, they walk by the river, parents go and play with their kids in the park. It really inspired me to reset and just slow down, relax, enjoy the tiny mundane moments that make Sundays beautiful. And I can truly say that living in Berlin has made me have a better work-life balance. Like, it just has. It is a country of people understanding that life is not just there for work, it is for work and for rest and play. And I think sometimes in the UK we miss that a bit. We're so good at the hustle. Number 2, ticket checkers on public transport. In London, it's pretty hard to get away with not paying for a ticket. I'm a goody two-shoes generally, so I haven't really tried. But yeah, there are huge ticket barriers. It's really hard to get through there without tapping your ticket. Even on the bus, you know, the guy he's gonna see you coming on, he's gonna look at your ticket, he's gonna see you paying. You're gonna pay for public transport. In Berlin, they just tend to trust the German people. There's 2 options. You either buy a ticket from a little machine physically, or there's an app called the BVG app where you can buy a ticket. Generally, no one checks. There's no barriers. Most of the time, you can very easily hop onto a bus, hop onto a tram, hop onto a train, and hop off again. No questions asked. But what they do have is they have ticket checkers, and these people are smart. The people who come and check tickets dress like normal people. They hold on to their railing in the bus. They're living their life, maybe they're listening to music. And then all of a sudden, boom, they whip out the ticket machine and bam, they're asking you for tickets, and they come around, they lock the doors, and they're like, no one is leaving here until I have checked your ticket. Happens in an instant. It's happened to me, I think, 6 times in my year or so living in Berlin that I've been ticket checked on public transport. As I say, most of the time I'm a goody two-shoes, so I've got nothing to show for it. But one time, can you imagine? I enter a bus, I walk over to the ticket machine, I'm clicking the ticket machine, I'm trying to buy my ticket for that journey right there and then. And then the ticket checkers, bam, they're doing their thing, the door's locked, they're like, hi, we're checking your tickets. And I'm like, I'm over here, I'm buying a ticket right now. You can see me, I've just walked onto the bus, I'm buying my ticket. But you know what? The ticket machine didn't work. I clicked it, it was malfunctioning, it didn't work, so I couldn't buy a ticket. So when these people came over to me and they're like, give me your ticket. Fahrkarten, Fahrausweis bitte. I had nothing to show for it. And you know what they did? They made me get out the bus at the next stop and pay a €60 fine. Even though I literally travelled one stop, I was just about to get my ticket, I literally tried and it was their machine's fault. I still had to pay. So moral of the story, buy your ticket and get the BVG app. And of course, we have to talk about the German language. This language is hard. So many articles. In English, we have the book, the door, the table, the girl, the boy. It's all the. We like to make other people's lives easier, the. But in German, there's der, die, and das, and there's some extra ones. When they throw in some other weird tenses, nominative, dative, they all change. And you have to know, based off of the gender of a word, based off of the context of the sentence, based on the placement and the order of the words, which one to use. And that is so challenging. There's like no real logic to which one has der, die, or das. And German, while it's very logical, for example, in English, you have the word umbrella. It's a very arbitrary word, umbrella. I don't really think it means that much. For them, it quite literally translates to rain shield. Like a rain shield, which makes a lot of sense. So even though it's logical, the words can sometimes get so long that they're so hard to remember and to spell and to read. My first semester living in Berlin, I hardly learnt German. I got by with Hallo and Dankeschön and the basics. But I really wanted to change that after the summer because I think you open up a country so much more when you can communicate with people, when you understand what graffiti means, when you can order in the local tongue so they just feel like you're actually trying and you're not some dumb English tourist, which we have a bad rep for in the UK. Over the summer, I did a 3-month language course called Lingoda. This video is very kindly sponsored by Lingoda and I absolutely love them. I chose the course before I was sponsored by them because one of my friends did it and she basically became fluent in German by doing their course twice, and that's just insane to me. And I'm definitely not fluent, but I went from zero German to being able to have a basic conversation, to always order in German in shops, to always understand signs. My German is decent now and it just made me feel so comfortable in Berlin. With Lingoda, you have 60-minute classes either every day or every other day for 3 months, which sounds intense, and it is, but that is how you learn a language. It is not, you know, learning one word on Duolingo every day, even though that helps. But like, if you really want to commit to be able to speak the language quickly, this course is it. Classes are in really small groups, you're with a native speaker as a teacher. It's flexible online learning, you can take it from anywhere. But what was so cool, if you don't miss a single class, you can get 100% of your money back. That is just insane to me. And if you really want to commit to learning a language and also getting your money back, then bam, you're going to do both with ease. The next Lingoda sprint closes on February 1st. So if it's one of your goals to learn a language this year, then I highly recommend picking that up. This challenge is for 2 months or 60 days. You can get 20 or 25 euros off with the link in my description and using my discount code. Within German language, one of the biggest culture shocks was German rap. That's a culture shock. It is an acquired taste, German rap. At first, I stayed far away from it. I thought it sounded very intense. I'm gonna insert some German rap so you can like get the vibe of what I'm saying. But slowly, I started to embrace a bit of Kitsch Creek, a bit of Bowser, and it was such a satisfying moment when I would go into a cafe or a shop and I would just hear a song that I know, like, oh, that's Golden Hour by Jeremias. Again, if you're learning German, I highly recommend listening to this music and you pick out words and you start to just learn it more in context. Dark rooms in clubs. I don't know if this is exclusive to Berlin or Germany, but in a lot of clubs, they have something called a dark room, which is effectively a pitch black room where you go in naked and you do the deed with random people. Yep. That is as intense as it sounds. I'm not a huge clubbing person. I do love a night out every now and then with friends. Personally, the dark room, not for me, but definitely a culture shock. It's just very normal. Like, people are so sexually free in Berlin and the nightlife scene is a huge part of the culture. So yeah, that was just interesting. Oh, this culture shock. A daily annoyance. The fact that you can't use card in so many shops. Everything is cash. Restaurants are like generally always cash, which for me was such a shock because especially in London, most places are card only, especially during the pandemic. And I felt like I would go to a restaurant with friends just as I ran out of cash all the time and I had to go run to an ATM. So yeah, get out some euros if you're going to Germany. Recycling. In England, we sort our rubbish, so it's not the biggest culture shock of all, but Germans do take it to the next level. I had this one neighbour who would always look outside the window when I was putting out my rubbish and separating it. And I was kind of amazed. I was like, wow, the dedication this neighbour has to making sure that we all protect the environment with our correct sorting of rubbish. It was a little bit intimidating, but I did my best. But what's also really interesting is there's this system called the Pfand, with a PF, Pfand. And I remember how confused I was the first time I bought a glass bottle in a shop in Berlin. I checked the receipt and I'd been charged an extra 25 cents for this bottle. That was not advertised on the original price. I remember thinking it was a bit of a one-off, but then the next time I bought a bottle, bam, I also got charged another 25 cents. You know, these things start to add up. And what Germany does is they add a deposit onto the glass bottle and you can get that money back if you go and recycle the bottle. And this is such a smart scheme for accountability. They're framing it not as money that you can gain from recycling, but money that you have already lost. I don't know if you're familiar with Daniel Kahneman's prospect theory, but it talks a lot about like human rationality and how humans behave and act. But we humans, we don't like losing things. We won't do anything to prevent our losses. And if you've already paid that 25 cents, you're gonna want it back. And that's just such a good incentive to go and recycle your glass bottle. You have to do it at the shop. So you sort of collect your plastic and glass bottles and you go put them there and you get money back that you can spend in the supermarket. And finally, on the topic of rubbish is things being left outside apartments. When you walk through Berlin, you might get the vibe that it's kind of dirty and chaotic. One of the reasons you might think that is because outside people's apartments, you will just see bags full of clothes, full of saucepans, sofas, just overflowing onto the street. And the idea is that if you have anything that you want to give away, just put it there and people will take it. And I've copped some secondhand books that way. I even copped a jumper that way. It looks a bit messy, but it works. Beauty standards for women. This is such a refreshing culture shock for me. I feel like in London, generally, like people make an effort to look good or to be high fashion, to look cool. Women generally wear makeup and love it. They look great. Sorry, my camera ran out of battery. I'm back. Yes, I love a good outfit, but I do also feel like there can be quite harsh beauty standards on women, as there are in many places, as there are online. But something I really enjoyed about Germany is women don't really wear makeup that much. There's nothing wrong with makeup. And a lot of the time I'd see beautiful artistic makeup, but it was also just very refreshing to see bare faces, to see spots and acne just owned easily. And also German women are just so strong and cool. Also talking about fashion, Berlin's fashion is so focused on all black clothing and sort of a grungy look. And even though I love wearing a bit of colour, something bright, after a while, the all black fashion just gets to you. I found myself gravitating more towards black items, wanting to wear like baggy, loose, cool grunge clothing. Bureaucracy in Germany is such a joke, like the amount of paperwork and legal stuff that you have to go through just to live there, to get an apartment. They don't make it easy for you, which is ironic because the German stereotype is efficiency. I found it very inefficient. Another interesting culture shock is so many restaurants wouldn't let me have free tap water. Like, yes, I know you want to make money out of me, but let me have water. I feel like that's just a basic human right. If it comes out of your tap for free and it's drinkable, let me drink it. Also interesting is German people tend to love sparkling water more than English people, I think. Maybe it was just the people I hung around, but I felt like that was something I noticed. And finally, Christmas markets. They are stunning. It puts London's winter wonderland to shame. So many beautiful handmade items being sold, delicious Glühwein, which is like mulled wine. The Christmas energy, the people singing songs. I absolutely loved spending Christmas in Berlin. Of course, there are so many similarities between English and German culture. For example, people are very weatherproof. If it's pouring it down with rain, you honestly wouldn't tell half the time because British people, German people, you just keep walking. You just get used to it. The weather was also grim there, like disgusting, got dark at 4 p.m, which we're also used to here. People just troop on through it. But yeah, I absolutely love Berlin because I feel like it's a city which gives you the freedom to be yourself in whatever way you want that to be. For me, as someone who's vegan, it just is the capital of veganism. Every single shop, every restaurant, everywhere has vegan options. Sometimes oat milk is the default. And German people, Even though they can get a reputation for being cold, or even though the German language has a rep for sounding harsh, they're lovely. They're so lovely. They're so warm. They might be direct at first, which for indirect little people like me can be sometimes hard. They're so sweet and caring, and of course these are such generalizations, but yeah, even though I think they can be harder to befriend as quickly as people from other cultures, if you're in their circle, love them, absolutely love them. If you've moved to Germany or Berlin, I would love to hear some of the culture shocks you found. As I say, this is just my experience. It's also worth adding, I'm a white woman. I was often assumed to be German, which means maybe I got treated differently or would have a different experience to someone else. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm very excited and intrigued that I'm spending next semester in London. So no culture shocks. Even though I'm a small town girl now moving to the biggest city, I think this semester should be pretty relaxing, and I'm so excited to show all my international friends my country. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day. And my casual magic for today, there are these two squirrels playing in the tree opposite me, and sometimes I just stop filming this video and just watch them because they just look so happy and carefree, and it makes me feel content. Bye.